What is your thought on the 1% rich in the world? I feel like the top 1% are generally richer than the 99% that aren't. Good insight. Never thought of it that way. Technically that's me, on a worldwide level, top 10% in the US. And I'm definitely not a millionaire. You gotta realize, anyone making more than like $70,000 USD per year is in the top 1% of the world technically. It's actually more like half that, around $35 a year. A minimum wage job in the US puts you near the top 1% worldwide. Edit. Since I'm tired about arguing about what data I'm interpreting and a lack of a clear answer, I'm going to just say that the actual 1% income level is somewhere between $35K, $70K USD. Much lower than the Wall Street CEO's salary we always imagine it to be. Yeah, even $35 is basically within the top 3%. As a random citizen in a first world country, I'm thankful I get to live better than most people ever in history. Despite the problems around me, I'm very fortunate. It's relative to where you live. Getting $30K a year in America is still poverty. It's still poverty stress. If you aren't experiencing this or below, then yeah, it's fortunate. Yeah, this thread is kind of gross in the way people are basically mocking the poor of the West by insinuating they're crying about nothing. $30,000 here can genuinely be worth less than $1. 5K as where? Me? I live in a shoebox in downtown Palm Springs on about $40K/year. Still need a cosigner to live on my own income, and then the cheapest place I could find will inevitably cost more in January. It feels like being spited for being alive at all, that I have to stress about where my next meal comes from, or how to keep my car on the road, or how to narrowly avoid homelessness for the 10th, 12th, whatever time and heartless bastards want me to be grateful. Your phrasing is interesting. Top 1% of the world is pretty tenable if you are in a first world country. That just means you're slight over the mean income for America. I'd say most of the top 1% of the world are normal people. For wealth, the top 1% is about $800,000. Top 10% is $100,000 or so. 35K, 50, 60K before taxes, or more yearly income is the top worldwide 1%. I'm fine with myself, I guess. Edit. I will clarify that the number is actually 35K, after taxes, so between 50, 60K. People are arguing numbers. The percentile I referred to was from UN numbers from 2016, I believe. As half the Earth's population lives below the poverty line, there are billions that make pennies a day. The global median income is just $1.225 a year, meaning that the world's emerging middle classes are very far from reaching a level of wealth which would make them well off by Western standards. For reference, the poorest 5% of Americans earn on average the same as the richest 5% of Indians. More than half of the world's wealth resides in the West alone. I will lastly add, to the people saying 70 million is 1% of the world's population in that statistic, whether be it dishonesty or ignorance, you are adding all non-income earning people into the statistics. That means you are adding 40% of the world's population, which is under 15 and over 65 years of ages, as well as all the non-working adults. These people earn no income and should be excluded in your calculations. Only about 60% of the world population earns an income. In America alone, 61% of people did not pay a federal income tax last year as they didn't make enough income to qualify. Top 1% are just middle class in first world countries. They're not a problem, and I wish most of the world could be helped up to that level. Top 1% are the biggest problem. They've enriched themselves at the cost of everyone else, at record pace during the pandemic. 2. Reddit can be so damn pedantic. The correct answer is use a slow cooker. Do not eat the rich. Cannibalism is just in general a really bad idea for humans, unless they have been lifelong vegans. They, like all apex predators, are going to be chock full of heavy metals that get passed up the food web and accumulate. Also, being a long-lived species, we tend to pick up lots of weird fungal and parasitic infections that don't do us any harm but can be passed on in a hurry if we get eaten by another human. And just a quirk of human physiology, we have freakishly high levels of iron and vitamin A in our blood and muscle tissue, which are actually toxic in all but very small doses. So compost the rich and then eat the crops. A much healthier decision. I think it's easy to judge others when you're sitting so high above them. I also think power is responsibility, and failure to use your powers responsibly will inevitably make you a villain. It's a big burden to carry, and one that's filled with fake accolades, ulterior motives, and enough trust issues to fill the entire universe. I have no issue with people being rich. Let's be honest, most of us wouldn't say no to being that wealthy. I don't even think they should be obliged to spend that money helping people if they don't want to, but I think they need to play fair. No tax dodging, bribes, monopolies, any of the classic bad rich guy shtick. Everything seems to be such a mad obsession with increasing profits to an insane degree. Just chill the fuck out a bit. Billionaires rule the world. The world is their marble and they do whatever they want. Watch Succession. Obviously op means the 1% that are the elite. Not Joe Blogs with a good job, man. The billionaire is the result of poor monetary policy. Top 1% of the world is equal to the upper low class, or the lower middle class of North America. There will always be mega rich people. The real issue is whether they have a disproportionate amount of influence over government. In the is they do and will continue to until secret super PAC money is banned and lobbying seriously limited. Complete assholes. Fortunately, I'm in the 2%. They looking mighty tasty. I understand that to the rest of the world, I would be classified as in the 1%. I'm no millionaire, but I do have easy access to water and food, and I don't have to worry about poverty for the time being. I would consider myself privileged. However, the top 0.01% of people that have millions of dollars of spending money that they don't have to jump hoops through to get access to shouldn't get to spend it on gold-plated yachts and acre-spanning properties with little to no actual purpose besides having something to spend money on, and should be using their wealth to better the lives of those less fortunate. I wish they would share more of their wealth with the world in terms of making it a better place for everyone. But ultimately it's their money to do with what they want unless it can be objectively proven that they gained it through harmful means. To be fair, I feel like a lot of it can be proven. It's evidence that capitalism is in trouble. I think you'd have to be selfish and corrupt and maybe even a little more crazy than the rest of us to have billions if not trillions of dollars sitting in an account that's not being used while people starve to death. The whole system is fucked emo. Guy at the top gets basically everything and guy in the middle/bottom gets barely a crumb from the billions the guy at the top is making from the result of the real physical work from the guy in the middle/bottom. Sure, I'm grateful I've never truly had the fear of starving to death, but I think in general we need a new way of doing things so everyone who is willing to participate is able to live comfortably at the very least. There's money out there for everyone. Most of it is just being hoarded. Our/anti-work. They own us all. Slaves don't have thoughts about their masters that matter until the day they collectively realize they're slaves and band together to set things right. Depends on what you consider rich. Happiness, contentment, wealth, love, respect, family, peace, whatever it is. I'm fucking broke. The trouble isn't the 1%. I would imagine a fair amount of people here are in the top 1%. It's the 0.00001% that owns so much of the wealth. It's more the top 1%. If you give thoughts on them, they are capable to sell your thoughts too. That Redditors hate rich people. In 1930, 90% of the world's population were living in abject poverty, less than $2 a day adjusted for inflation. Today only 10% of the world's population live in abject poverty. The economic activity of the wealthy and middle class in developed nations are globally fixing the problem.